This is a response to Ryan Arco. I read your post on Tumblr, and depending or not if you've seen my reblog on it and what I posted there, then you already know I'm going to do this in video form because it's easier for me to do it this way. I feel it's a little bit more sincere than just a bunch of emotionless text on the screen, and most times when people see a wall of text, they really don't want to read it anyway. They just want to scroll through it as quickly as possible. That's not what I did with your post. I read the entire thing. And it is the most well thought out and constructed and civil criticism of me that I've seen so far, ever since this exposing someguy827 thing started. And you are absolutely 100% right. Whether or not I wanted really to be able to admit that or not, you're right. And really, I don't have any choice but to admit it. You're right. You're 100% right. There are many things about my life that have hurt people, and about my actions that have hurt people. And running away from that fact will not do anything for me. It won't do anything at all, but just dig me in a hole even deeper, and in such a fucking pathetic and sulky, unmanly manner. It's just like digging your own grave and ignoring the fact that you're actually digging your own grave. You're digging a 20-foot deep hole in the fucking ground of your own bullshit. And you're just all the while singing la da da, it's not a big fucking deal. Shit, I'm already down to the bedrock. Give me that jackhammer. I need to dig it even deeper, you know. But you're right. So I'm just going to admit this flat out. There are many times outside of those two videos where I've been a very verbal and emotionally abusive dickload to my fiancée. And there are many times in my life before even meeting her where I've been that way to a lot of people. And there is no justification for it. There is no excuse for it. I would say that there were only 2 times in my entire life where I'd say that I felt personally justified in treating someone like that. And that's so hard to admit, because thinking back on all the shit that I've done to people, it makes me absolutely sick. Thinking that as long as I don't talk about it, there's no accountability. Well, that shit follows you, and that's just how life is. There were times in my life where the times in my life where I felt it was justified were when I found out the person I wanted to marry at the time had cheated on me. And a situation that I don't want to really talk about too much in here that's very personal to me, that ended up the way it did because I, in a way, caused it to end up that way. That situation in particular is one of the reasons why I'm responding to you and not someguy827 exposed. Because in my mind and in my opinion, there are certain lines you do not cross in regards to things from people's personal lives, and they cross that line. And I'm just going to say this right here. You guys don't know what happened. It was partially my fault. You don't know what happened, though. And you don't have a right to commentate and make assumptions about something like that. One of you on your blog admitted that you have a child. You don't know how it would feel, I'm sure, if somebody just started accusing you of being an absolutely terrible parent, and you didn't know this person, but you did know that they know nothing about your personal struggles in regards to raising your kid. That's just an unfair card to pull, because you don't know what happened. You can only assume, and assumptions like that can severely fuck up aspects very dear to a person and very important to their life and the life of someone who does not need to be brought into this. That's why I don't even acknowledge those people anymore. Because the minute I saw that post, I nearly put my foot through a wall, which is another idiotic, response. I didn't, because we haven't paid the lease off on this place, and bullshit, I need to have a $200 fee tagged on to my rent, which is not good. But it did piss me off pretty much, intensely, to see that. It's hard for me to do this video because it's hard to just accept that you've been this big of a shitball your whole life. That after a while you have to throw all your cards on the table and just say, you know what, there's some truth to a lot of this. And to take that and accept it and put accountability to it, it's hard. It's not as easy as said and done, because you just don't want to do it. You don't want to accept that, yes, a huge majority of your life, Stephen, you've hurt people. You've used them. You've been a complete fucking shitload to them. You've treated people who, for the most part, at least for a little while anyway, were trying to help you out, like they didn't matter to you at all. Some people who were trying to help me out ended up just doing so they could get ahead in life, or friends I made that were doing, the whole be your best friend thing just so they can manipulate your girlfriend at the time into getting in her pants, and I ended up making those kind of friends more often than not. But it didn't justify the fact that they ended up being able to run off with the person I was with at the time, because ultimately I was being an out of control fucking shitball, and I was treating these people like crap. I'm not even going to run away from it anymore. When I was taking painkillers like hydrocodone and shit for a very small, for about, I'd say 6 months, it wasn't because my family sucked. It was because I sucked as a human being, and I could not find any other way to deal with my depression other than a self-destructive way, and I goddamn knew what I was doing. When you're sitting there looking at a handful of pills that aren't even yours to take, which is already fucking stupid and fucking wrong, and you should already know better, but even at that point, you're looking at a handful of pills and you're going, man, it's really fucked up, I have to do these, then you already know you have a problem. You already know you're doing something wrong, and you're choosing at that point afterward to continue to do so. And I was choosing to do so. I didn't want to admit it to myself, but I was choosing to do so. On top of that, I started drinking much more, and I was choosing to do so. To fit in. What the fuck is the point of that? What the fucking hell is so stupid about me that I would sit there and just choose to become an alcoholic practically to fit in? I don't know. But I made that decision and said, yeah, I'll have another fucking shot, or I'll have another beer, or when I would go DJ for a bunch of people I'm glad I don't work for anymore, who kind of crashed their whole empire, which I thought was special. It's nothing to do with this video, but it's fun to know. When you're getting absolutely shit-faced every Thursday that you would come in there to DJ and then you would just make some of the stupidest fucking decisions of your life. You're making decisions. You're in control of your actions. Even if you're intoxicated and fucked up on pills. You're in control. If you're choosing to be around shitty people, you're in control. And you're just making yourself okay with their shitty behavior, which at that time was no fucking better than my own, and the effect that it was having on your personal life. And I own that. That's all fucking me. My family was shitty. They were absolutely shitty. They're a little better now, but that's probably because I don't live in their house anymore. Go figure. But they aren't the reason that I decided to start taking drugs and drinking and lashing out at people. A lot of people say, well, abuse will spawn abuse. Yes, in a way, it's like the catalyst. But you have to make the fucking choice to admit what you were doing. Own it. And say that you have abused many people in your life. And I have. I've mistreated so many goddamn people and downplayed the severity of it. People have feelings. And those feelings can be hurt and broken. And by the time they're broken, they just don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. You brought up in your post when a fight had spilled over onto Facebook between my fiance and I. And we publicly broke up and lashed out and fought with everybody, and I was having a goddamn shit attack meltdown, and all I was fucking really doing was trying to win favor with people who don't even know what the hell is going on. And that's so shitty and petty, and I can't even fucking believe I goddamn did that. I mean, what the fuck? A bunch of these people who don't even know me, they don't even give a shit for the most part, other than if I make another video, and I'm sitting here just expecting to manipulate somebody with their favor. What? And once they catch on, they would want to continue to have anything to do with me? What a bunch of shit. And it's not even the first time that I've done it. It'd be like the fourth time in a relationship that I'd done something like that. It's so stupid. I used to do that with my ex-fiance all the goddamn time because I got so sick and tired of being with a person who I felt was just so complacent that I was in their life that I might as well have not been there. And instead of trying to talk with people about it, I just tried to make fights happen back when MySpace was popular in front of everybody. Just to go say, look at how big of a piece of shit this person is being. And when you look back at it, all you're really saying is, I'm better. Which is so stupid. I'm better. My needs aren't being met. Fuck their needs. They need to satiate my needs now. A lot of people have accused me of doing that and lumping that on my bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder only makes this shit harder to deal with. It doesn't cause it. It's my asshole inclination to be an asshole, which isn't right. And I will admit, I know it isn't right. I've known it isn't right ever since I started knowing, not just, it's pretty fucked up I do these things to people, just knowing they're fucked up. I've known it was bullshit to blame it on the bipolar. Bipolar just makes it harder to deal with. It doesn't necessarily cause this. There are people who can be this big of an asshole to people that have, like, no mental illnesses at all. Bipolar disorder doesn't really cause these things at all. It's my own fucking shitty behavior. It just makes it harder to fucking deal with and harder to manage because then it sets the bipolar off and then I'm like twice the asshole I was already being. But you bring up in your video that, or in your video, excuse me, I'm so used to saying that because I'm so used to responding to other videos because of YouTube, and you bring up in your post that, look, you can't just dismiss these things, and I know. I know. I've dismissed them because I've been embarrassed at them. Ashamed of them. Ashamed that I would make the conscious decision to be not accountable for my shitty actions. When I would look at the top part of Some Guy 27 Exposed, There are a few things in there that I think are bogus. I don't understand the homophobic, transphobic thing, but no accountability, the victim complex. I never once tried to see it from other people's perspectives. I don't dig the transphobic, homophobic thing. I don't get where you even have evidence of that, besides me saying the word faggot on YouTube, or, you know, sometimes I'll say, wow, that guy looks like a drag queen or something like that. Like, when I was in school, I used to get called faggot like 10 times a day up until like the 9th grade. I had to harden myself against even being affected by it. Because that's just, it used to hurt me a lot. I ended up just making myself completely hardened against it. I didn't even get bothered by it anymore. It's not a justification for using a term that offends other people, but I'll tell you, if words hurt you that much, actions will completely destroy you. And if you want to end the phobia that a lot of people have towards homosexuals and transgendered people, then you need to not let words break your bones and not even give a shit about the sticks and stones. Just keep moving forward to the equality that you deserve. When people throw out the homophobia and transphobia thing, it really pisses me off, because I'm not homophobic. I'm not transphobic. People are going to be different from you for a multitude of reasons. And a majority of the time, that's just because that's just who they are. So I'm not phobic against homosexuals. I'm not phobic against transsexual people. But I can understand where people may get that from. Especially after I had an argument with somebody called the Trans Queen on Tumblr. And I was kind of angry with this person, because they said the veracity of the anger I express in my videos reminded them of their rapist. And I was angry because I kind of thought that was pretty preposterous. Because then I'm indirectly being compared to a rapist. And even though I've been a completely abusive shitwad my entire life, I would never rape anybody. And that just hit a core for me. I guess in a way I can understand how a lot of the language I throw out pretty recklessly can affect other people. If something like that can affect me so deeply, then I can't sit there and assume that everybody in the world is just as hard as a rock toward everything. They called me an ableist too on that blog, but I can't really comment on that because frankly I don't know what the fuck an ableist is. I guess, what does that mean? That I enable people to commit the same behavior that I speak out against? Because if that's so, then I guess that would make sense to be pissed off at someone about. But frankly, I don't know what the fuck an ableist is, so I don't have a comment. I try not to worry too much about the isms of the world, because they just kind of hold everyone back. They get too hung up on things like that. And I guess in a way they're important to keep up on, because of things like this. Anyway, I'm just kind of rambling off here. I can't run from accountability about these things, and a lot of you people, even if I don't want to admit it, that you do bring up a solid point. That's inexcusable behavior. No one deserves to be treated that way. I have my reservations still about the circumstances in which those were released. I personally think that's an absolutely fucked up thing to do to someone. Just as fucked up as what I was doing to my fiance in those videos. When you trust somebody with something like that and say, could you just make sure these go to this person's therapist? Because that's what they were even recorded for. My fiance wanted me to see how I was being, so maybe I'd understand, and I didn't even care. I didn't even want to watch it. But I agreed to take it to my therapist, and this person we were friends with at the time got a hold of it, and just, when we all had a falling out with them for some very valid fucking reasons that I'm not even going to bother getting into. They tried blackmailing me with it, which, you know, everybody keeps saying that's an excuse. Oh, you're excusing your behavior. No, I'm not. I'm trying to explain to you how they even got on the internet in the first place. That's all I'm trying to do. You know, to blackmail somebody with that is just beyond disgusting. And the fact that this person, when I confronted him about it, didn't even have the balls to just admit that, yes, okay, it was me. It just lied to my face like 4 friggin' times. It's just even worse. Excuse me, my throat's about as dry as a desert. You also bring up the point that I'm more concerned with things like Evangelion figures or, you know, my ghost hunting stuff and being a facade to the internet, instead of addressing these and owning up to these issues. That really hit home. You can't just dance around the issue and ignore it forever. Eventually you're going to have to address it, man up, gut up, and ball up. Instead of ball up into a ball in the corner and then just fucking complain that it's the world's fault. No, this isn't the world's fault. This shit is my fault. It's my fucking mess to own up to. And I own up to it. I do. It hurts to own up to because you don't want to admit to yourself that's how you've been for a majority of your life, but yeah. It wasn't even... I wanted to originally do a video because of some of the things that really pissed me off about someguy827 exposed, where I'm just raging at the... I even have it on here, on the computer. Might as well just get rid of it though, because all it's doing is eating up hard drive space, where I'm just raging at these people because I'm very pissed off that you would bring that situation of my life into this. It has nothing to do with what you have a problem with me about, and you don't have the right to commentate on it. But even that's an immature approach. Half of the fucking Onision videos I've ever done were such immature videos. Anybody can sit in front of a camera and just call someone an asshole because they live their life in such a way that it's very convenient and easy to call them an asshole. But the mature thing would have been to actually make a point. Instead of saying, you're a sick fuck because you believe this way, you should be really saying, you're a sick fuck because of this reason, and this reason, and because of these reasons, they're having this effect, and this effect on people. And yet I get pissed off when people do the same thing to me. No. One thing that did bother me about someguy827 exposed is they actually started thinking that my best friend's blog and mine are run by me, and it's just a big conspiracy. No, they're not run by me, okay? We're two completely different people. But she looks out for me a lot. We've been friends ever since we were like fucking kids, like yay high, so... She looks out for me a lot and doesn't like when people who don't understand a lot of why I am the way I am, even if it is pretty unjustifiable to be that way, start ripping parts of my life to shreds that they don't understand. And don't bother to come to me and talk to me about them. You know, even in your post, Arco, you said that, you know, if people want to know more about me, they can just feel free to ask me. And then you go, yeah, okay, right. The thing is, I do mean that. If people want to know more about me, I'm willing to tell them. As long as it's not like super personal. Because I want to be more honest. I want to be a better person. I want to work towards being a better person, not just sit on my ass forever and be a fucking completely huge, egregious fucking piece of shit. I did the Onision videos as viciously as I did because the reality is the guy represented absolutely every fucking thing I've ever hated about myself for either being or having been. And being able to make a career off being everything I hate about myself as a person. He's a manipulative, stylish fucking scumbag, slimy asshole who spent the majority of his life telling women he loved them and just treating them like shit. That's like a brick in the face with reality. And I fucking hated that piece of shit for it because he could get away with it. And then become popular on top of it. I've been no better for a huge majority of my life. And all it's gotten me is fucked in the ass with a steel dildo of reality. And the reality is, good things don't generally come to people that treat everyone around them like shit. And then say stuff so fucking petty like, oh, it's because I didn't have a lot of friends. Oh, because my family treated me this way. No, it's because you're being a dick, Stevie. You're being a fucking asswipe. You want what you want so badly in life sometimes that you don't give a fuck about other people and how they feel or what they would like. It's like you didn't give a shit that you were emotionally breaking down someone you really truly do want to spend the rest of your life with. It's like you've done to fucking way too many other people before. You spent too much time in your goddamn life running the fuck away from your problems. Thinking that was the right idea. And eventually, you know, people won't call you on it. Or thinking that is somehow the manly, right thing to do. Rather than not just grabbing life by the balls, but grabbing yourself by the balls in a non-Michael Jackson fashion. And going, fuck this shit. I'm going to take responsibility for the fucking shit I've done and the mess I've made, and I'm going to clean it the fuck up and just try to be a better person from that point forward. Instead of sitting around popping pills and drinking and saying that, oh, it's because my family was an asshole. That's why people can't take junkies seriously. It's the typical shithead junkie excuse. With the stuff I've seen in my life and people that I've been around for a brief time in my life, I should have known that. And actually, I do know that, and yet I'm so fucking stupid that I couldn't even follow my own advice. I understand that a lot of people who do criticize me, they would, you know, I understand this is what you wanted me to say. You just wanted me to say the entire time, dude, just fucking admit it. What you did was fucked up. Don't dismiss it and say it's not that bad. It isn't not that bad. It's fucking terrible. And it is what it is. It was abuse. What really pisses me off these days is that Becky and I don't go through shit like that anymore. and the constant insistence that we do just sets me off. Things are very different for us now. They're a lot better. They're much more stable. And we have better communication. I don't have to think that, I don't even have to resort to the mentality of I have to have control over every situation, and even if it's by being an asshole, I'll do it. Things are a lot better. And it pisses me off when people do stupid petty shit. Like, one of them actually took a video of from my Instagram or something like that, where Becky and I were at a park. We were having a picnic. And even though I come from Vegas, where the weather will get, like, for example, 115 to 120 on an average summer day, here it gets up only to 90, but because of the humidity, it feels like it's like 110. Well, that's how the fuck it was. So not only are you, like, boiling out there in this park, but you're hot, sweaty, and sticky at the same time, too, and it's miserable. We didn't think it was going to get that hot. But even still, people, they kind of piss me off when they say things like, well, she's probably still being abused and he's still being a dick. I will admit, I still have my moments of being a fucking prick, but I don't scream at her anymore. I don't yell at her. I have never, ever, fucking ever laid my hands on her. Ever. And people were going to throw that accusation out there. And honestly, anybody that does, you're a shitbag. Right here and now, you're a fucking shitbag. I would never, ever fucking lay my hands ever on her. Ever. And I never have ever laid my hands on anyone who I've been with. Somebody was going around saying, well, he has a restraining order on him by one of his exes. No, I don't. I have a restraining order that I filed on somebody else, and that's it. I filed a restraining order on an absolutely obsessive, crazy motherfucker who I wanted out of my life a few years ago. And that's pretty much the extent of it. They were harassing my family and trying to control and fuck up the lives of people around me at the time. And I went down and I got a restraining order on them, and that was that. Not only that, but it really didn't matter anyway, because I don't even fucking live around that place anymore, and I don't even hang around those people, and those things are only good for 30 days. When I moved out here, there was a rumor going around that somebody had tried to file a restraining order against me, and it was actually apparently true, because when they tried to serve the paperwork at my house, the guy shows up, and I'm not there because I'm obviously not living in Nevada anymore, and they just let it go. And I don't know what it was about. I mean, I have a vague idea of what it was about, but if that's the case and it's what I'm thinking of, then I'm just going to laugh at it forever because that's ridiculous. And it was filed by somebody I wanted out of my life anyway, so it's not like I would have wanted to go within 500 feet of them in the first place. But when things come out like that, you know, people, they take them and they run with them, and they'll make shit up, and that's really the thing that really pissed me off about that. I will take accountability for consciously abusing drugs, being such a shithead that I actually thought people would buy it if I blamed it on my family and all the crap they put me through. No, I made the conscious decision. I'm going to take accountability for being an abusive shitwad, emotionally, verbally, and psychologically, to my fiancé. Things are not like that anymore. And I want to stress that. They are not like that anymore. But I'm not going to just dismiss it anymore. That's what was going on. And it wasn't good. It is never good. And I don't think that anyone should ever treat someone like that. And I'm going to take accountability for offending a lot of people with a lot of language that even though I don't personally find it offensive to me, I will concede the point that it is offensive to other people. And going forward, I will try to moderate that a bit. Just because it doesn't affect me personally doesn't mean that it doesn't affect other people. I shouldn't hold myself to a standard that I hold other people to. Excuse me, that I shouldn't not hold myself to a standard that I hold other people to. In closing, your post gave me a lot of stuff to think about. And I wouldn't have thought about it unless, it was written the way you had wrote it. Because too many people were just throwing stones for the sake of throwing stones and too busy calling me a shithead asshole to get me to think. Because when you're in that position, and this is to the people who run the other blog, even I had to realize this at some time. And actually, you know what? There's one thing I'm forgetting about this, and I'm going to address it real quick. With the whole don't stand so close to me thing. I really handled that like a real piece of shit. I really did. I did watch the guy's video, and I didn't even address a single fucking point. I just said, you're obsessive, you're crazy, you're an asshole, you're a dick. And that's just stupid. It is. I did watch the entire video, and I just, not worth my time. Which is the wrong way to handle it. Which was the wrong way to respond. It was just stupid. Just stupid. And pathetic. The guy made real criticisms, and I just dismissed them entirely. Just like I did with Burn Coalition. I know him as Lackland. Just like I did with Lackland's video. I didn't even bother addressing the points in it. I thought I was impervious to criticism. And I'm not. I'm not. I'm not better than anyone else. And honestly, too, don't stand so close to me. I'm very sorry for kind of just disregarding you entirely. And just... The thing is about you is that I've always kind of personally felt that you... when you go the extra mile to do the research on the topics that you do, I always kind of thought it was a little weird. It's really the truth. And I kind of thought it was honestly a little obsessive and just a little strange. And yes, this is coming from a person who made anti-Onision videos at the same veracity and rate that you did. So it is a little bizarre for me to say. And really, a lot of people, they were saying that it was hypocritical of me to say it's okay to attack Onision but leave his wife out of this. I will stress the point again. I don't fully feel that she really 100% understands why we have a problem with him. Like I said, from my perspective, there's something wrong with her, like upstairs. She doesn't really seem to get why we have a problem with this guy. And at the same time, she loves the shit out of this dude. And even though we all hate the fuck out of the motherfucker, you can't ignore that what he pulls in from YouTube. He likes to say he's poor, but we all know he has a lot of money. That he pulls in a lot of money from YouTube, and he's able to provide her at least with a decent life. I still hate the fuck out of the guy, and like I said, it's because he represents to me everything that I hate about myself. And because he is legitimately a major piece of shit. He's just as big of a piece of shit as I've been for a long time. For a huge portion of my life. But I felt, if you watch this, I felt that it was wrong for you to take that approach, because why damage somebody else's future? People can change. Maybe even that motherfucker. And man, it hurts to say that, because you wouldn't think that he can change. And he may not. He may go to his grave just being a narcissistic asshole. But if you think about it from this perspective, she just had a kid. She's in college, and fucking that over for her only hurts the kid. It only hurts her. Well, if you were to actually get her kicked out of school, man, you wouldn't feel good about it. I didn't like seeing that because I'm like, that's a low blow. You know, it was so stupid for me to do, like, this stupid congratulatory video even on the subject of when Repsion got the marriage license out there, and I thought it was ownage. No, it wasn't. You're digging into somebody's fucking personal life, and that's not right. Especially considering that I don't even like Repsion. I'm sitting there making these fake congratulatory, oh, it's just perfect ownage. I don't even mean it. So stupid. That has nothing to do with Don't Stand So Close to Me, but I want to apologize for just completely disregarding you. And not only that, being such a dickhole that I would say, you know, oh, you're crazy, you're obsessive and stuff. You're not. You're just like every other video maker out there. And you were labeled as crazy by a person whose behavior was no better. To make 4 of these goddamn videos a day. To sit there and just lament about some motherfucker that, even though the guy is a piece of shit and kept reminding me of all the shit I hate about myself, still isn't any fucking better in my book, or at least in my side of things. To just waste so much time of my life going after it for what? That it really has. That I don't think it really has much to do with what people criticize me on currently. They criticize me on my inconsistency. They say, "Oh yeah, this one day," and you'll say this the other day, and now that is just me running away from it, and I can't run away from it. I can't sit there and be Lord Inconsistency and then think that people would still feel I have credibility. They get pissed I have no consistency. Because for a long time I've been very afraid, literally afraid, in fear of just saying, yes, I'm a shitwad. I've hurt people. I've hurt people who were only trying to help. I've blamed my problems on everything in the world but myself, and then run away from them, and I can't do that anymore. I don't want to do that anymore, actually. I don't want to fucking sit there and live in between a rock and a hard place that I made for myself to be in between. I don't want to do that no more. To sit there and get into an argument with my fiance and say, well, I have to quit YouTube now, or I have to quit my music, or all this shit. What a fucking stupid argument. I know, I'm not trying to say this in the context of being offensive to people, but it fits. What a retarded argument. I'm sorry. I had to say it. Because it is. It's fucking stupid. I have to quit one of my hobbies in order to make you feel bad, so then you'll come and apologize for me to me because I was being a dickload. Stupid. Stupid! It's fucking stupid, and I spent too much of my goddamn life being fucking stupid, and I don't want to be stupid, and I don't want to do these things anymore. I don't want to sit there and just fucking shove it off on anybody else but myself, because that's where the blame for a lot of these fucking things that people are calling me out on goes. Within reason. There's some things that people throw out there that are just bogus and bullshit. You know, did you hear that Stevie Wolf one time fucked a dinosaur? Yeah. Because there's some things that people just come out with that are just ridiculous. But I can't sit there and just run away from it anymore. And I don't want to run away from it anymore. And I'm not going to run away from it anymore. Since moving here, a lot of things have changed for me. Because I'm not, one, in a bad environment full of people who will enable me to just be a shitload or cause me, inadvertently cause me to be an asshole. And I'm not even allowed to be an asshole anymore because Becky's very much holding me by a very strict standard for my behavior. We don't fight like you saw in that video or the other video anymore. She won't put up with that. She has a very strict ultimatum. It's like, if you do that stuff to me anymore, I'm not going to fuck around. I don't care if I got to put you in jail. I will fucking kick your ass out of the damn house and ship your ass back to Vegas with all these asswipes who were using you and manipulating you and calling you their friend, even though you weren't. And I'll just move on with my life. And she threatened to steal my favorite comics too. Which really doesn't matter, but goddamn. Leave the comics out of it at least. But that's a reality hit right there too, for me. When you realize that you have been fucking up and you can't fuck up anymore. You can't treat someone like shit and expect them to always be okay with it. They won't. They won't put up with it. Eventually, she'll be like, look, I know that you've never been... She's like, basically, look, I know you've never been to jail for anything like this before. But if you do that while we're living together, and you are that aggressive, you are that emotionally out of control, sorry, you're going to go. Because that's not how you treat people. And then you should just shrug it off. But I can't shrug it off anymore. The reality is it's not how you treat people. You can't run from it. You can't hide from it. You can't live your life as a disrespectful ass and expect people to still care about you or love you or want to be around you or be your friend. It's not just a moment of me being human. As one of my friends wanted to put it, it's like people were getting really upset, and it's like, yes, you saw a moment of him being human. It's a little more than that. But I understand their sentiments and their perspective. I understand what they mean. You just can't be allowed to live your life like that and enabled to live your life like that forever, and I'm not going to live my life like that forever. I don't want to. I don't fucking want to anymore. I don't want to be the aggressive, foul-mouthed fucking... Well, I don't know if I can ever stop being foul-mouthed, but overtly, offensively foul-mouthed. Abusive shithole that I've been my entire life. Because what's going to be left of my life if I don't make the change now to be a better person? And sit there and just lie to people and say it's not that big of a deal. Yes, it is a big deal. It's wrecked the last 8 years of my life. Anyway, thank you for your post. Unlike a lot of others, it really got me to think. And making this video in general really got me to think about how I've treated people on this site in my personal life. Even just in passing, people I don't even know. It's gotten me to think about a lot. But thoughts are worthless without action. It's going to take a while, but I'm going to do everything in my power to actively become a better person at this point going forward. So thank you for your post. I hope this I hope this was an okay answer for you. Like, it wasn't like just way too long or whatever. Anyway, I'm some guy on the internet. And so are you. Until next time.